friends. My name's Bree. I'm so glad you're hanging out with me in the tree house. We have a great story today. We'll hear about men who were called by God. Did you know God calls people? Like on a phone? Hi, God, is that you? Not that type of calling. Calling like yelling for something. Hi, you! Stop that! Nope, not that type of calling either. This type of call is when you get invited to be a big helper in God's story. God calls us. He calls you and He calls me. Before we hear about who God called, I heard there's a special surprise waiting for us in this mystery bag that's gonna help us today. Let's see what it is. A fishing hat? What does a fishing hat have to do with God's big story? I guess we'll find out. I need a volunteer who can be my fisherman. Will you be my fisherman? Great! Here's your hat. Now, you can pretend you're fishing right now. Let's start at the beginning of Jesus' ministry. Jesus traveled around teaching and helping people. Word started to spread, and soon lots of people wanted to see and hear Jesus. While Jesus was teaching, a lot of people showed up, and then more, and pretty soon everything was so crowded that Jesus didn't even have room to stand on the land. He found a boat and asked the owner if he could stand near as if it was his stage. When Jesus was done teaching, he turned to the boat owner, Simon, who was a fisherman. Maybe he was even wearing a fishing hat. Jesus said, "Let down the nets so you can catch some fish." Simon said to Jesus, "We've worked hard all night and haven't caught anything." He was probably tired from sitting there all night, not catching a single fish. Simon thought it was a waste of time to put his nets in the water, but he decided to try anyway. That's when something amazing happened. The net went into the water, and right away it was filled with a ton of fish. There were so many fish that the net was starting to break. Simon called to his friends, James and John, who were fishing in a boat nearby, and they came to help him. Simon was so happy and excited that Jesus had provided so many fish in his net. Simon couldn't believe what he was seeing. Meeting Jesus was the most amazing thing that had ever happened to him. But Jesus told Simon, "Don't worry. From now on, you will fish for people." From that moment, Simon and his friends left everything to follow Jesus. They went many places with Jesus and helped Jesus as he served and helped people and taught God's messages. Jesus called more people too. He had 12 disciples who were his closest followers, and many more people followed and learned from him. What a great story! Now we know why there was a fishing hat in our mystery bag. Simon was a fisherman, and Jesus called him to be a part of God's big story, just like God calls you and me to join his big story. We may not be fishing for real fish, but we can follow the example of Jesus and tell others about him too. See you next week, right back here in our treehouse. Until then, don't forget, God calls us.